If you didn't already know, OpenSea is the largest marketplace by far to buy and sell NFTs. It was one of the major winners of the recent NFT boom, and this year, in January 2022, OpenSea hit $5 billion in monthly trading volume and was valued at over $13 billion. Despite this financial success, the story of OpenSea has been plagued with crime and controversies. There's been fraud, insider dealing, colossal data breaches, and endless mistakes, some of which have resulted in OpenSea users losing millions of dollars. And it begs the question, are these problems simply growing pains for a new behemoth in an emerging industry? Or are these signs that the OpenSea ship is steadily sinking? This is Coinspiracy, and in this video I'm going to break down the reasons why I think this might be the end for OpenSea. Part 1. The Rise of OpenSea. To understand why things are going so wrong at OpenSea, we first need to understand their story. What is OpenSea? Who are the masterminds behind this whole operation? How do they even make money? And why were they so successful? So let's start at the beginning. It's 2017 in New York City. Meet David Finzer and Alex Atala. They're both software engineers in their late 20s, and they decide to place a big bet on an emerging technology, NFTs. For those that don't know, NFTs are essentially digital assets. They empower people to prove that they own things online. So just like a deed of a house proves that you own the house, an NFT proves that you own the asset that it's linked to. So whether that's artwork, a ticket to an event, or a membership pass to an exclusive club. In late 2017, we saw the first real NFT boom. CryptoKitties, a digital kitten collectibles game, processed more than 12 million in sales in December alone. Some of the CryptoKitties NFTs were being sold for over $100,000 each. CryptoKitties had shown the world the potential of NFTs. It also gave David Finzer and Alex Atala an idea: the world's first marketplace for NFTs. So just like you can buy someone's second-hand phone on eBay or a handmade Dolly Parton candle from Etsy, David and Alex would build a marketplace where everybody could buy, sell and trade NFTs. And they would call it OpenSea. To begin with, it was smooth sailing for OpenSea. They secured several rounds of investment and were gradually building their team. However, from 2018 to 2020, overall trading volume of NFTs remained painfully slow, and the industry was far from living up to the promise that it had shown in late 2017. But then, 2021 happened.
The word of the year is NFT.
Christie's auction for digital artist Beeple. The final bid, $69 million.
A non-fungible token, which is basically a digital contract that's on the blockchain.
Fueled by speculation and celebrity endorsements, the excitement for this new technology had exploded into a global NFT frenzy. Trading in NFTs hit $17.6 billion in 2021. That's an outrageous 21,000% surge from the 82 million traded the year before in 2020. And OpenSea was at the epicenter of this gold rush. You could even argue that by providing a user-friendly marketplace for people to buy and sell their NFTs, OpenSea actually helped to facilitate this NFT bonanza. In January 2022, OpenSea reported a monthly transaction volume of $5 billion. And because OpenSea takes a 2.5% slice of every single transaction performed on their platform, that's equivalent to around $125 million in revenue in 1 month. OpenSea's exponential growth had caught the eye of investors, and everyone wanted a slice. In January 2022, OpenSea secured an investment round of $300 million, valuing OpenSea at approximately $13.3 billion. To put that in perspective, that's about the same valuation as Etsy or Domino's. And make no mistake, for a 4-year-old company, that is an incredible feat. By leveraging its early mover advantage, OpenSea has dominated the NFT sector. Despite the NFT market cooling off in recent months, OpenSea still remains the kingpin of NFTs to this day, with over 97% of every single NFT trade being facilitated on the OpenSea platform. Part 2. Hacks, fraud, and endless mistakes. From the outside looking in, OpenSea's exponential growth looks like a resounding success. However, this explosion of users and revenue was equally matched with an explosion of mistakes and issues, and OpenSea was struggling to protect its users from the growing amount of theft, fraud, and plagiarism that was being committed on its platform. One high-profile example was a horrendous phishing scandal where 17 OpenSea users lost 250 NFTs worth approximately $2 million. Sadly, phishing and social engineering scams are a huge problem in the NFT space. So that being said, OpenSea can't take all the blame. However, OpenSea does a terrible job of educating their users on the safety risks of trading NFTs. To start with, their blog on safety and security is essentially hidden at the bottom of their homepage. There are basically no tips of how to stay safe to be seen on the OpenSea home screen, and they provide no safety training whatsoever. It's an easy solution and they seemingly refuse to implement it. While phishing scams are barely an indictment of the OpenSea technology and platform, some exploits are a direct cause of OpenSea's poor planning and product development. One such attack was the infamous inactive listing exploit, where attackers took advantage of a mistake from OpenSea to steal millions of dollars worth of NFTs from its users. A particularly painful example was the case of Mr. Chapman. In September 2021, he listed a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT for sale on OpenSea at a price of 90 Ether. That's roughly $300,000 at the time. 3 months later, inspired by the skyrocketing value of the Bored Ape Yacht Club collection, Mr. Chapman raised that listing price to 269 Ether, approximately $1.1 million, which, believe it or not, was not too far-fetched at the time. However, in February, that ape that he listed suspiciously sold for the original listing of 90 Ether. Mr. Chapman believed that old 90 ETH listing had long expired because it had disappeared on his OpenSea account. But actually, someone had exploited an OpenSea glitch to buy the Bored Ape Yacht Club for that heavily discounted price. OpenSea was basically misrepresenting the reality of the blockchain, and that misrepresentation caused OpenSea users to lose out on life-changing amounts of money. For fast-growing companies, things go wrong and mistakes will be made. It's how a company reacts to these problems that's the key to the longevity of the business. And OpenSea has consistently opted to make inadequate policies and bad decisions that have left their users feeling isolated, helpless, and out of pocket. And no other scandal highlights the inadequacy of OpenSea's decision-making than their policy on freezing assets. People having their NFTs stolen is a huge problem. OpenSea's solution was implementing a heavy-handed freezing policy, and this meant that any NFTs reported as stolen would be frozen, and the holder of that flagged NFT would not be able to sell it even if they wanted to. Because OpenSea is so reliant on manual support to freeze NFTs, there's a considerable delay between the reporting of the suspicious activity and the actual freezing of the NFT. This delay provides a thief with the perfect window of opportunity to sell the stolen NFTs, often by selling at a discounted price to secure a quick sale. What we're then left with is a scammer who's got away with their loot, and an innocent buyer who has a flagged asset which has consequently been crushed in value. OpenSea's policy of freezing assets has only created more victims. The issue is exacerbated by a neglectfully low standard of proof required for a seller to flag an item as stolen. There are countless examples of sellers who have regretted making their purchase decision and then flagged the sale as suspicious in an attempt to reverse the transaction. There are even reports of schemes where a seller would report a sale as stolen to get it frozen on OpenSea, and they would then buy the NFT back on another marketplace for cheaper. And to complete their scheme, the holder would then contact OpenSea to remove the report and have the NFT unlocked. Despite OpenSea's recent attempts to increase the burden of proof to prevent false reports, OpenSea refuses to implement this change retrospectively, meaning that many of the thousands of NFTs that are already marked as stolen will remain frozen, and the financial pain that it puts on holders of the frozen assets will continue indefinitely. Part 3. Something smells fishy at OpenSea. At the speed that OpenSea has grown, these kinds of things are, I wouldn't say excusable, but they're certainly understandable. But then a few issues creep in that make you wonder, who is really running things behind the scenes?
The executives at the largest NFT marketplace in the world just got caught insider trading NFTs for personal profit.
The U.S. Department of Justice is charging a former OpenSea executive with insider trading.
Was in charge and or a part of the selection for figuring out which NFT would be featured on the homepage.
Nate Chastain, an ex-executive at OpenSea, was charged in connection with trading on confidential information. Nate had the insider information on which projects would feature on the OpenSea featured projects page. After an NFT collection featured on that page, they often skyrocketed in value. And well, Nate allegedly used that information and purchased those NFTs with anonymous wallets. And when those NFTs appeared on the OpenSea homepage, Nate would then sell them for 2 to 5 times what he initially paid. And while there can be bad actors in any company, some of OpenSea's decisions really make you question their true motivations. Many of OpenSea's decisions seem to prioritise making more money, rather than protecting the rights and security of NFT artists and traders. A prevalent and current example is OpenSea's failure to prevent wash trading on its platform. Wash trading is where a scammer buys NFTs from themselves for higher prices to artificially increase the perceived value of NFT or an NFT collection. A notorious example is the case of the Lady Ape Club. Investigations from ZachXBT have all but proven that the Lady Ape Club team are buying their own NFTs from themselves for extraordinarily high prices. Now this has 2 effects. 1, it makes the NFT seem like it's worth more than it is. And 2, the project features on the top NFTs ranking page on OpenSea's platform. And despite this obvious fraud, OpenSea has featured Lady Ape Club on the top NFTs page for almost a month now. The victims of these kinds of scams are those that buy the NFTs because they have a false sense of security after seeing the project featured on the top NFT homepage. OpenSea are essentially giving free advertising to scammers. And you're probably wondering, why don't they just stop this obvious scam? And the answer seems simple. OpenSea is taking a 2.5% slice of every transaction, so it's financially motivated to support as many sales as possible on its platform. The high amount of trading volume for the Lady Ape Club means that OpenSea has likely scooped up hundreds of thousands of dollars in trading fees from that project alone. Part 4. OpenSea is doomed to fail. Individually, each of these issues can be explained as the growing pains of a rapidly growing company, but together, they start to paint an uglier picture, and it doesn't really look good for OpenSea. Here are the 3 reasons why I think OpenSea is doomed. Reason 1, they keep on making mistakes. So in this video, we've covered just a few of the costly mistakes that OpenSea has made, and they just keep on coming. The most recent example was the new gifting feature, where scammers could gift NFTs to prominent influencers, like Gary Vee, and make it look like that influencer had actually purchased it. And that mistake had inspired many people to buy into these sham projects because they believe that their favourite influencer had just bought it. And it's these kinds of mistakes that OpenSea keeps making, and you can be sure that this won't be the last one. Now don't get me wrong, we all make mistakes, but with the significant amount of money at stake in NFTs, it means the smallest mistakes from OpenSea can lead to their users losing colossal amounts of money. And that requires OpenSea's processes and planning for new features to be of the highest possible standard, and they're failing. Reason 2, terrible customer experience. You cannot understate how important good customer support is. When users have lost tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars, they need help to navigate these difficult times with support and clarity. OpenSea is exceptionally poor at supporting its users. There's no live support chat on their website, and there are regular reports of users waiting days, weeks, or sometimes months to hear back from OpenSea. And this is slowly but surely leaving a bad taste in the mouths of many OpenSea users. Reason 3. OpenSea has an identity crisis. Crypto, NFTs, and Web3 were founded on libertarian principles of decentralization and protection from institutional interference. When OpenSea rose to prominence, OpenSea championed these principles to gain popularity amongst crypto natives. To say OpenSea's Web3 credentials are questionable is an understatement. They use closed source technology, and the asset freezing scandal has shown OpenSea's willingness to use totalitarian measures in a very much centralized manner. While I don't think centralized solutions are necessarily evil, it does reveal that OpenSea does not quite understand what side of the Web 2, Web 3 fence that it stands on. And it's this confusion that has already lost the support from many purist proponents of Web3 principles. Closing thoughts. OpenSea was the first mover in the space. It grew exponentially and capitalized tremendously, but has struggled to solve many of the issues that have come with such staggering growth. And that is the crux of the issue. The Web3 space suffers from a great number of problems, and we need the big players to step up to the plate and use their substantial resources to come up with effective solutions, and OpenSea just isn't doing that. It's not over for OpenSea, but if they don't step up their game, then somebody else will, and when they do, that will be the end for OpenSea. If you enjoyed the video and you're interested in more cutting edge stories in crypto, NFTs, Web3 and finance, then go ahead, subscribe to the Coinspiracy channel. We'll be posting well-researched videos every single week.